Hey everybody, welcome back to a North Texas Weather Center forecast, and today what we're going over is that severe weather potential for tonight, tomorrow, and as well as Thursday. There are 3 shots of severe weather across portions of Texas, and as well as Oklahoma. We're going to get into the latest details on the timing, threats, and everything that you need to know before these storms do arrive to your location. So let's get right into it. So this is today's outlook. We have an enhanced risk for severe weather across northern and western Oklahoma. It also goes into portions of the Panhandle of Texas, which does include areas like Childress and just east of Amarillo and just to the northeast of Lubbock. The main threats today will be very large hail. That is my main concern for today. There could be some damaging wind gusts, and there could also be a possibility for a tornado or two. I can't rule that out either, but the main threat will be hail up to the size of potentially grapefruits. We're talking about very large hailstones today and a couple of these storms. Here's a look at that tornado outlook for today. It's a very low-end risk overall today. You can see that it's only a 2% probability, really all across northern and western Oklahoma into portions of the Panhandle of Texas. That's basically our range at this point, from Lubbock all the way back out to the northeast toward Ponca City. Basically, that's the range, and as well as Kansas as well. Looking at the large hail threat for today as well, there will be a large hail threat. We have a very good likelihood of seeing large hail in a few of these storms. You can see this does extend all the way again from basically Wichita or so in Kansas down south as far west basically as Lubbock. So that's kind of a range as well. Hatched region here is going to represent your potential for hailstones 2 inches in diameter or greater, 10% probability there within about a 25-mile radius of seeing hailstone sizes above and beyond just quarter to half dollar size. We're talking about potentially, hen egg size, baseball, tennis ball, potentially as I said before, potentially up to grapefruit sized hail. It's going to be a pretty active day overall in terms of that severe weather today. All right, let's take a look at the future radar. Today will pretty much stay dry throughout the entire morning if you're watching during the morning, but during the early afternoon, you'll start to see that storms will start to fire up right around 4 o'clock. This is your initial storms. These initial storms will pose the largest threat for large hail, so that's just going to be something to watch around between about 4 to 7 o'clock. 5 o'clock, you can see storms become a little bit more widespread. Eventually, by about 6 to 7 o'clock, those storms are much more widespread. We're talking about 60% coverage in that severe weather risk area today. Eventually, by 7, though, you can see your greatest activity of storms is down here to the south. Some storms also in Kansas here. These will also produce the potential for some large hail. These ones down here to the south, though, are definitely going to be producing some very large hailstones. We have a much higher lapse rate here. We also have a much more favorable environment for stronger updrafts. Take a look at 8 o'clock. You can see those storms start to move south very slowly. These storms will not move very fast. By 9 to 10 o'clock, these storms will be moving through areas like Childress, passing through Elk City and eventually toward Oklahoma City. By 11 to 12 o'clock, the storms will start to weaken as they move off to the east. Eventually by 1 to 2 in the morning, you can see they speed up a little bit and they'll get closer to Oklahoma City and Lawton. Can't rule out maybe Wichita Falls sees one of these storms, but it will be kind of a bit of a 50-50 at this point. 3 to 4 o'clock, the storms continue to move off to the east, and eventually we'll start to see our next round of storms going into tomorrow, which there is a slight risk for severe weather across western Texas into central Texas, or central Oklahoma, excuse me. So this will include the potential for damaging wind gusts and maybe some large hail. Those are our 2 main threats for tomorrow. Tornado threat seems to be pretty low. Take a look at the future radar for Wednesday. As I kind of mentioned before, we'll have probably a line of storms move down to the south and east, and that's going to come out of Oklahoma. You can see going late Wednesday into Thursday morning. Here are your strongest severe storms. They're basically going to set up back out here to the west. Eventually going into about 4 or 5 in the morning, the HR model shows they'll kind of roll through the Metroplex very late. Now, if this happens, the threats of severe weather will be very low. Talking about maybe damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. That is my only concern. If it happens a little bit earlier than this, we could very well see maybe some damaging winds and maybe a little bit of large hail with a storm or two. Eventually, by 7 in the morning on Thursday, these storms will continue to push off to the southeast. That'll lead to our next chance for severe weather going into, I know we have so many severe weather chances, but we'll have another chance for severe weather on Thursday. Timing and all of that will be up in just a little bit. Make sure to stay updated again with North Texas Weather Center for the latest here on Facebook, YouTube, and as well as Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All of those links are in the description below. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting, All Dents Repair, and the Dashner Law Firm.